The headlines: WAEC releases the 2026 WASSCE results. President Tinubu approves up to 80% salary increase for military personnel. Dangote Refinery cuts petrol price to 1,165 naira per litre. Osun State government challenges the EFCC over restricted accounts. Good day and welcome to our live news update. I am Obiajulu Ayomide Ungo Martins, and here are the major stories making headlines. Now in more details. The West Africa Examination Council, WAEC, has released the results of the 2026 West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination for school candidates. The results allow successful candidates to begin preparation for admission into universities and other tertiary institutions. WAEC says it withheld the result of 167,486,000 candidates over suspected examination malpractice. The council will investigate the cases before deciding the next steps for the affected candidates. WAEC has advised candidates to check their results through its official channels and avoid unverified platforms or individuals who claim they can change examination results. And from education, we move to the welfare of Nigerians' military personnel. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved a major salary increase for Nigerian Armed Forces personnel, with lower-ranking personnel receiving up to an 80% increase. The government will implement the new salary structure from September 1st, 2026. Personnel from private to staff sergeants will receive an 80% increase, while warrant officers to colonels will get a 50% increase. Officers above the rank of colonel, including generals, will receive a 30% increase. The presidency says the move will improve military welfare and morale as Nigerian forces continue to tackle terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping. Now to the petroleum sector, where a new price cut is attracting attention. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery has cut its ex-depot price of petroleum motor spirits, popularly known as petrol, to 1,165 naira per litre. The refinery, located in Lekki, Lagos, has a production capacity of about 650,000 barrels per day and has become a major player in Nigeria's petroleum industry. The price cut pushed other fuel suppliers to review their prices and may provide relief to consumers if filling stations pass the reduction on to motorists. Meanwhile, political activities is intensifying in Osun State ahead of the governorship election. The Osun State government has taken the Economic and Financial Crime Commission (EFCC) to court over restrictions on one of its government accounts. Governor Ademola Adeleke's administration wants the court to intervene and clarify why the EFCC restricted the account. The development comes just days before the state's governorship election scheduled for August 15th. The dispute has attracted political attention as parties intensify their campaigns and prepare for the poll. And that's the latest from Alive News. I am Obiajulu Ayomide Ungo Martins. Thank you for watching and stay with us for more updates as they happen.
They will build trust. They will build communities. They will build influence. ANN was created for this moment. The institutions that matter in the future will not simply distribute content. They will build trust. They will build communities. They will build influence. ANN was created for this moment. Africa is changing. Its influence is growing. Its economies are evolving. Its digital future is accelerating. Today, more than 1.5 billion people call Africa home. Hundreds of millions are already connected. And by 2050, the continent will be home to more than 2.5 billion people. Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, drives this population growth and mass connectivity. The epic center of opportunity. Africa's scale and Nigeria's growing population create a rare long-term investment opportunity. But opportunity alone changes nothing. Execution matters. Because media has changed. Audiences have moved. Attention has fragmented. Trust has become scarce. The institutions that matter in the future will not simply distribute content. They will build trust. They will build communities. They will build influence. ANN was created for this moment. Not simply as a channel, not merely as a platform, but as a next-generation African media institution. Operating from Nigeria, present across every platform that matters: television, digital, streaming, mobile, events, intelligence, one ecosystem, built with AI, run by journalists, built to inform, built to engage, built to endure, and built to create value generated across multiple revenue streams: advertising, sponsorship, events, digital products, research, multiple revenues, one institution, one long-term vision. The greatest opportunities are not discovered, they are built. The work of building has already begun. The Lagos studio is taking shape. The vision is coming alive. This is ANN, alive to Africa, alive to the world. The institutions that matter in the future will not simply distribute content. They will build trust. They will build communities. They will build influence. ANN was created for this moment. The institutions that matter in the future will not simply distribute content. They will build trust. They will build communities. They will build influence. ANN was created for this moment. Africa is changing. Its influence is growing. Its economies are evolving. Its digital future is accelerating. Today, more than 1.5 billion people call Africa home. Hundreds of millions are already connected. And by 2050, the continent will be home to more than 2.5 billion people. Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, drives this population growth and mass connectivity. The epic center of opportunity. Africa's scale and Nigeria's growing population create a rare long-term investment opportunity. But opportunity alone changes nothing. Execution matters. Because media has changed. Audiences have moved. Attention has fragmented. Trust has become scarce. The institutions that matter in the future will not simply distribute content. They will build trust. They will build communities. They will build influence. ANN was created for this moment. Not simply as a channel, not merely as a platform, but as a next-generation African media institution, operating from Nigeria, present across every platform that matters: television, digital, streaming, mobile, events, intelligence, one ecosystem, built with AI, run by journalists, built to inform, built to engage, built to endure, and built to create value generated across multiple revenue streams: advertising, sponsorship, events, digital products, research, multiple revenues, one institution, one long-term vision. The greatest opportunities are not discovered, they are built. The work of building has already begun. The Lagos studio is taking shape. The vision is coming alive. This is ANN, alive to Africa, alive to the world.
Welcome to our live news update. This is an exclusive. I will be your host. My name is Adeniran Makinde. In the studio today, we have with us Mr. Obafemi George, a political analyst and a political scientist. You're welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much, Mr. Makinde. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here. And congrats on this beautiful studio.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Is the starting beat? Yeah. Yes, I would want us to dive into the matter straight on. and it's all on the economic policy of the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. There are a couple of policies that the nation, of course, people have opinions here and there from different divides, but it's important that we chronicle this, all of these policies, one of which is his major economic decision, which was the removal of fuel subsidy. As you know, 3 years down the line, would you say Nigerians are better off because of this policy?
I think it's good that we talk about where we were coming from, where we were, and where we could have ended up if those decisions were not taken. Let me seize this opportunity to just educate our viewers. So subsidy started in the 70s.
Yeah.
It was General Gowon that actually first introduced fuel subsidy. And the whole idea was, we've experienced oil boom, and oil boom began to dwindle. So they're like, okay, let's cushion the effect of that price undulation on the people. So subsidy was introduced. Then by 1977, when President Obasanjo was president, he now codified it. I think it was Decree 33, Price Regulatory Act of 1977. Anyway, the whole idea behind subsidy was that it was meant to be a temporary thing. The concept was, okay, let us subsidize the cost of PMS while we build local refining capacities. And that was why the military government in that era was aggressive in building refineries. Before that time, it was only Port Harcourt refineries that we had. Then they started Warri Refinery, started Kaduna Refinery. And Obasanjo finished one. Then when Shagari came by 1980, he finished the second one. Now, when subsidy was codified in 1977, Obasanjo pegged it at 15 kobo per liter. And with the hope that, 2-3 years down the line, once the refining capacity has been developed, subsidy would go. As at that time, I think subsidy was maybe like 5 to 10%. However, when military left and politicians came in, 10% subsidy became 20% subsidy, became 30% subsidy, became 40% subsidy. And as that was growing, the corruption was growing, the embezzlement was growing, till we found ourselves by 2010, 2011, it had gone beyond what anybody imagined in the 70s. And a cabal had been built around it. And when people say, they shouldn't have removed it, I remind them, I said, who was actually benefiting from this subsidy? Was it really the people? Because Mr. Makinde, if we cast our mind back to even prior 2023, the price of a liter of fuel in Lagos was not the same price of a liter of fuel in Maiduguri.
I agree with you. Certainly, there was different pricing all over the country.
And the margin was huge.
But this is the argument. Some of the people were saying, okay, if you had to remove it, the manner in which it was removed, that there was no prior planning before its removal. That's some of the argument. How would you?
Because what they fail to realize is that when you want to deal with an established cabal, it's not a policy that you're going to set up a think tank and you're going to start having town hall meetings and you're going to give them enough time to plan. Have you ever asked yourself why all the previous presidents were unable to remove subsidy? Nobody could, including former military head of state who became civilian president.
Why
because it was strong and it was entrenched in the system. So you needed a street smart, a city boy, who, the moment he came in, the first 20 minutes of becoming president, his very first speech, in other words, I'm not going to give you time to regroup and re-strategize, or are you going to frustrate this policy? That was the first thing that did. He took it out. Because we, as a nation, we were there. Let's talk about Naira and Kobo. Let's look at the figures.
Would you say, before we go to the Naira and Kobo, the figures, would you say there is any, accepted, that has been done and all of, for all the reasons.
Yeah.
But would you say there is benefit to the common man, as it were?
Absolutely. Because you see, prior to 2023, many people don't also remember, by 2022, Buhari's budget, the late President Buhari's budget, we were spending 93% on recurrent expenditure and debt servicing. Left to just 7%. No, government had nothing to do anything. That was why educational system was collapsing. That was why health sector was collapsing. That was why there was no money for infrastructure. The little infrastructures that were done, maybe Second Niger Bridge, it was Sukuk funding. Lagos, Ibadan railway line, it was Exim Bank, China Exim Bank. 24 states were borrowing to pay salaries. Local government had zero. There was no money to fund primary school education. There was no money to fund secondary education for state government. That was why there was ASU strike. Nothing was working. So when subsidy was removed, if you now begin to see how social services, social amenities that were not working before 2033, now they are working. And I'll give you an example. Let me start from the health sector. Prior to 2023, statistics showed us that in 2023, less than 10 million Nigerians access primary health care, which is the first line of defense in our health system. Less than 10 million. Now, when this president came in, he said he was going to renovate at least 3,000 primary health care centers. By the time they've done 2,000 more health care centers, as at last year, that figure had jumped to 40 million Nigerians who have accessed primary health care center. Where did that money come from? That's number one. Let's talk about education. You know, I tell people that, have they realized that this is the very first time since 1988, 40 years, we've not had ASU strike? That, do they think that it just happened? No. University system is now being funded. That's why there's stability in the educational system. I'll give another example because people say, oh, well, they remove subsidy. The micro, it's not touching people's pocket. Mr. Makinde, it was in the 70s that we had a transparent scholarship system. Since that time, none. Last year, this president created NEL Fund. Less than 15 months ago. Between then and now, over 1.5 million youths have benefited from NEL Fund. I saw a video trending about 2 days ago. A guy who got credit a lot of NETFund. I think in one school in Sokoto, and he was running like
there's always a video on social media now.
So just think of 1.5 million households who wouldn't have, prior to this administration, wouldn't have had the opportunity of sending their kids to universities.
Then what
almost 300 billion naira disbursed.
How would you now place the people who are on the other divide for whatever argument they have over this? What is the soothing word that you will give to them concerning these policies? Because don't forget,
so
this same administration, right, also unified the foreign exchange.
Yes.
Which is another policy.
Yes.
That is going in the same direction where the masses are on different divide. Right. We make this argument about how this thing will help at the long run, but there is that other demand on the other side who are saying, while the long run waits, what are the things to do now?
So, you know, I always like to use this maxim that we use on the street, that it says, you pay now or you play later. You play now or you pay later. Whichever way, you are going to pay. The reason why we are where we are as a nation, the reason why it's this precedent that have to be taking difficult decisions back to back to lay a solid foundation is because something that could have been done in the past weren't done. And I give credit to President Obasanjo when in 2007, he sold the refineries. When Yar'Adua came, he reversed it. Same political party, his benefactor. Perhaps if that wasn't done, maybe there wouldn't have been a need to remove subsidy. Maybe the system would have regularized itself. And that's why this president is making those tough decisions. Now you're talking about the exchange rate. Maybe we should also tell Nigerians that, because you see, what grows an economy is not you and I. It's when you have when government creates a conducive environment, when your fiscal policy is stable, when investors can predict your economy, that's when they bring their money into your system. Prior to 2023, Mr. Makinde, we were losing. In fact, we've lost everything. ShopRite pulled out. Shell pulled out. Mobil pulled out. Our stock market was struggling. If you remember in 2023, when this president just resumed, all the foreign airlines were threatening to pull out of Nigeria because they said they had $7 billion trapped in our economy. It was so bad as at that time that if you bring in your money as an investor, if you bring in $200 million and they give you certificate of capital importation, by the time you are leaving the country and you want to export your capital, if you apply for $100 million, CBN will give you $2 million. And that's what affects the common economy on the street. Because if foreign investments are not coming in, jobs are not being created. If jobs are not being created, there's no velocity of cash in the system. And the president said, no, we cannot continue to have 6 different exchange rates. Whether you have some people, because of their closeness to seat of power, every month they collect $100 million from CBN governor at 320, 340, 400 naira to naira, and they cross over to the other side of the street and sell at 600 naira to $1, and they no value whatsoever to the economy. Banks were busy round tripping at the expense of you and I. The real sector that needed FX, they couldn't access it. And look at us at that, because for me, I tell people, figures don't lie, data don't lie. The moment that naira was floated, of course, it was initially devalued. Yes, people felt it. But look at what has happened to the economy. Stability, predictability. Mr. Makinde, Shell that left us, now they are back in the country, investing $20 billion in our economy. This same July, Mobil that left us is almost 10 years ago. Now ExxonMobil is back in the country. They've committed $1 billion in OML 138. Why? Because they can see stability in the economy. If you go to a foreign market, now, in 2024, because I was looking at the data to even see, okay, how has this floating of the naira, how has it impacted for FDI into the country? Now, when you go to the stock market, first quarter, Q1 2024, over $2 billion. Q1, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. If you compare it to Q1 2025, that figure more than doubled. Over $5 billion came as foreign investment into Nigeria. Q1 2026, over $9 billion. Q1 2026. So what does that tell you? Investors now have confidence in our economy because they can see that we've put policies in place that gives them the confidence that if they put money in our economy, they will get the money back. And that is how an economy grows. That is how the youth on the street gets employed.
I hear you. But considering the inflation, the rate of inflation and the rising cost of living,
yes,
there remain a major concern to the ordinary man on the street. How would you now say that is a success, balancing the reality of the Nigerian masses? How would you say that has impact on our economy? Whatever we say, the reforms, the welfare, and all of that, is that in any way balancing? Is it right in any way, all of these reforms to come at the same time? The impact on the masses, are we considering it? Because it is good to hear all of these lovely things. But to the common man on the street, who bears the brunt at the end of the day, how do we balance this?
No, see, Mr. Makinde, we all bear the brunt of these decisions.
Well, it seems some. See, if we make
it
this
bites
argument,
even as employers of labor, it bites.
agreed.
Because I know, I'll give you an example. In 2023, I know how much I was spending on diesel in my office. By December 2023, I had to call my manager and I said, listen, we cannot continue like this. Whatever you guys want to do between 9 and 12 o'clock in the morning, by 12 o'clock, shut down the generator. When it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, put it back on. Just to cut, and we did that for over a year. So it cuts across. In fact, the bigger you are, the bigger the headache. But we have seen, and this is where I tell people that if you study great economies all over the world that have moved from where we are to where we want to be, if you study economies in the world that have lifted hundreds of millions of people out of poverty, this is the pathway that they took. If you want to talk about China, you want to talk about Singapore, you want to talk about Dubai, you want to talk about even Rwanda in Africa. Because you can't create an economy where if you have exchange rates, no investor is going to take you serious. And you have a population of 240 million people. Are you going to take them out of poverty? How many people can government employ? It's the private sector that creates jobs. And the private sector, if there's no safety for their investment, there's nothing's going to happen. And that's why this president is doing everything he's doing. We can see the impact on the expansion of the economy. And I tell people, I'm into real estate, Mr. Makinde. If I go to a construction site and I see a foundation, I see 40-meter, 60-meter pipe being sunk into the ground, I can tell that what is coming up there is a 25-story building. So as it is with building an high-rise, it's similar in building a nation. When you see a president putting certain parameters in place, you can tell that this is a foundation for economic growth, sustainable long-term economic growth. And removal of some. Okay, let's even put aside my opinion. Let's talk about global opinion. S&P.
Okay.
S&P released a report 15th of May 2026. And they highlighted all the decisions that this government has taken. Positive economic decisions. They mentioned removal of fuel subsidy, floating of the naira. They even referred to Executive Order 9, which is signed in February, that mandated NNPC that every proceed of crude oil, let it go directly into revenue account and not some NNPC account in London where they want to develop wings.
What would you say to, given all the situation that we have mentioned,
yes,
all the misunderstanding, all the lack of enough patience? I mean, from all that you said, that the Nigerian people, if I have to put all, the Nigerian people have to be patient with this government.
Yes.
To go through the reforms and all of that. But there is still the fear and everything that persists, right? Will it be the reason for the insecurity that is all over the place in the nation now? Will that be?
No and yes. The reason why I said no and yes is because, yes, poverty also contributes to insecurity. But you can't just use a blanket approach to analyze the insecurity or security issues that we have in the country. Because the root cause in the Northwest is slightly different from the root cause in the North Central. Likewise in the Northeast. To a large extent, illiteracy is a major contributing factor. Because I'm sure you remember that there was a report that UNICEF published that says that we have almost 20 million out of school children in Nigeria. I'm sure you have the report.
Yeah.
If you read the report, that report says over 10 million are between the ages of 4 and 10 years old. And it says over 8 million are between the ages of 10 and 14 years old. But that's not where I'm going. That report says 66% of that figure, they are in Northwest and Northeast Nigeria. So if you tie that to insecurity, where do we have this insecurity? Where was the origin? Northeast, Northwest. Boko Haram started from Northeast. Banditry, illegal mining, kidnapping, mostly started from Northwest. So if you connect the dots, that tells you that illiteracy contributed largely to it. If you look at those bandits, they are young. some teenagers in their early 20s. Now, those were the young ones that were refused to send to school 15, 20 years ago. They're the ones that became bandits.
Would you say the government is doing enough
to
curb insecurity?
Oh, yes. Directly and indirectly. What do I mean by directly? Because if you look at the data, no president have achieved success against banditry as much as this president has done. In the month of May alone, over 200 Nigerians that were kidnapped were rescued. Over 300 terrorists killed. In the month of June, 320 Nigerians were rescued. There's hardly a day, and I encourage the young ones who like social media. I tell them to go on Instagram and begin to follow HQ Nigerian Army. And you will see, it's unfortunate that the mainstream media doesn't report the successes of this administration when it comes to security. If you follow that handle, Nigerian Army handle on Instagram, HQ Nigerian Army, almost on a daily basis, you will see the successes being recorded against banditry, against insecurity in this country. And I'll give you one classic example. You know, this Orire kidnapped victim that were rescued. You know, opposition had thought that was going to be another Chibok story. I mean, with what I've gathered, they've actually built a campaign around it, thinking that, oh, this is another Chibok story. But they didn't know that this is not a president that is sleeping. He's hell-bent on succeeding. Just last week, what a military president could not do, this president has approved the expansion of military divisions from 8 to 12. That tells you that he's thinking long-term in dealing with insecurity. For the first time since 2002, every president have set up all kinds of panels to look at the Nigerian police system. They all knew that there was something missing with the Nigerian police system. President Obasanjo set up one in 2002. Another one was set up in 2005. When President Yar'Adua came in, he also set up another committee, I think in 2008. When President Jonathan came in, he also set up another committee to look at, police reforms. Everybody knew that Nigerians couldn't be effectively policed by the police system that we had. But we didn't see a frontal approach. We didn't see the political will. This president has pushed through state police bill. Because our constitution that says, I think section 215 or so, section 215, that says that the state governor shall ensuring public safety and public order in the state, and that he shall do so by instructing the commissioner of police. Now, Mr. Makinde, you and I know that a governor doesn't control the commissioner of police. So we call them chief security officer of the state. In other words, I've given you a responsibility, and at the same time, I have taken away from you the means, the tools for you to be able to discharge your responsibilities. And that's why you've seen that for the past 15 years, each time you have crisis, maybe in Borno, they kidnap in Niger, the governors were helpless. They just go there, commiserate to the people, create IDP camp, donate mattresses. There was nothing they could do. But now this president has pushed through state police.
How well would you say the renewed hope agenda has laid strong foundation for the nation? Would you be proud of that in any way?
I thank you for that question. And I'll mention two things.
Given all the situation that we are now.
Oh, yes.
Given all the argument, and they are very strong argument, because if you go on social media.
So you know what I always do? I try not to get involved in emotional argument. I give people data, I give people facts. And I tell them, okay, we feel the way we feel. We all do.
You also, I beg your pardon, you also have to take into consideration the pulse of the nation.
Oh, yes.
Right? Nigerians are open, are very expressive in all of these things. And this is the reason I particularly ask that question.
And that's how people like us.
It's an agenda. Renewed hope is an agenda.
Yes.
And for every agenda, there must be a strategy.
Yes.
In order to work it. The strategy include how you engage the people.
Correct.
I'm opening up that question because I see if all that you have said, given the data, because they are factual, given the data, how well have we been able to communicate with the people? It's important. If communication is not strengthened, how well then would we say the renewed hope agenda, which is the thrust upon which the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is driving?
Yes.
How well would you say at this point that has succeeded?
So, and thank you for giving people like us an opportunity to educate Nigerians and to let them know that you don't build a great nation overnight. And that if they look at the parameters, what is being done, and we try to show them comparative analysis and tell them that, okay, you know what? China used to be where we are today. And in 1979, a leader also rose up like President Tinubu and said, you know what? I want to take my people out of poverty. As at that time, China's GDP was well around $79 billion US. What did they start to do? They created special economic zone, which is similar to our free trade zone here. They began to invest massively in infrastructure, road infrastructure, train infrastructure. Fourth thing, they began to invest massively in tertiary education. Because you can't leave people out of poverty without education. Benjamin Franklin said, investment in knowledge pays the highest dividend. And if you just take those three parameters alone, you can see how this president has aggressively pursued those three areas. Since independence, there has never been a president who has embarked on aggressive infrastructure development like this president.
I agree with you.
None.
But how well have we been able to communicate?
No, it's
of this with the... You see...
It's been communicated. It's been communicated. I'll tell you what.
How would you say it has succeeded?
It is succeeding.
Okay.
So I won't say it has succeeded. It is succeeding. But unfortunately, the negativity, the noise out there, from the opposition is drowning the voice of the good work that this president is doing. But I also tell them that let us not sit down in Lagos and assume that what is trending on Twitter is what is dictating the trend of conversation in Kebbi or in Jigawa or in Maiduguri. Because Mr. Makinde, we have about 7.5 million Nigerians on Twitter or X. 40% of them are based in Lagos. We have about 10.4 million Nigerians on Instagram. Over 30% of them are based in Lagos. We have almost 50 million Nigerians on Facebook. Almost 30% are also based in Lagos. In other words, what dictates conversation on social media starts in Lagos, number one. Number two, I'm in your beautiful studio. You are based in Lagos. Most of the strong media houses, they are based in Lagos. Well, some of them have branches in Abuja. Likewise, the print media. If I mention all the top 10 print medias, 9 of them are based in Lagos. So we erroneously and arrogantly conclude that the conversation on those platforms is what determines what's going on in Bayelsa or in Enugu. Whereas this president, who is a strategist, every policy disseminated in those places, he is sending his media team. Just last week, media team of the president took over 50 journalists to go and tour the Southeast. They've done Southeast, they've done Northwest, so that they can see what is going on. And the people there who are benefiting, who can see what is being done, they know what is being done.
Okay.
The guy in Sokoto who got nail fund the credit alert, he doesn't know what you're saying on Twitter.
Thank you.
But he can feel the impact of what the president is doing.
Thank you, Mr. Obafemi George. We'll leave it right there because it's an ongoing conversation. It will continue to go on. It has been lovely in the studio. We have been discussing with our guests, Mr. Obafemi George, a political analyst and a political scientist. We've been discussing the policy of the government and the reaction of the people, reaction of businesses, reaction of the nation. We've been discussing that, and it's been a lovely time. Some other time we'll bring some other people to come in the studio and continue on this analysis. Once again, I say thank you and goodbye.
This is ANN. The institutions that matter in the future will not simply distribute content. They will build trust. They will build communities. They will build influence. ANN was created for this moment. The institutions that matter in the future will not simply distribute content. They will build trust. They will build communities. They will build influence. ANN was created for this moment.
Good afternoon and welcome. I am Salome Oladipo, and today we have an exclusive interview on the race to the presidential election. I am Salome Oladipo. Now, the race to the 2027 presidential election has taken another significant step. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has published the personal particulars, academic credentials, and supporting documents submitted by all presidential candidates and their running mates, as required by Electoral Act 2026. Beyond fulfilling a legal obligation, this publication opens a new phase in Nigeria's electoral process. It gives citizens, political parties, and other stakeholders the opportunity to examine the documents, raise questions where necessary, and if there are any concerns, pursue the appropriate legal channels. But beyond the certificates, what should Nigerians really be paying attention to? As campaigns officially begin this month, will the focus be on qualifications, personalities, policies, or the pressing economic challenges facing the country? Joining us this wonderful afternoon to help unpack what this means for the 2027 presidential race is political analyst Jesufemi Adeogun. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us in our studio.
Good afternoon.
First off, I must ask, have you gotten your PVC yet?
Yes, I am.
If you were to school us on PVC, what are you going to say in just 1 minute?
Well, I would just advise every Nigerian to ensure that they get their PVC so they are able to vote when it's time to vote.
Right. So it's no news that INEC has officially published the personal particulars and the credentials of all the presidential candidates. For the viewers watching or for the electorates who are very important to the 2027 presidential election, what would you say is the significance of what INEC has done thus far?
Well, I think publishing the credentials of those that are aspiring to become president in different parties is very, very important. And looking at it holistically, I mean, those that are actually, let me say, top 4, we already know their credentials, so to say. They are not new to the race. We already know them. Their scorecards are already there, but it adds to the credibility of INEC, you know, saving us some sort of argument and stress to put it in the public domain for people to be able to go and verify, should in case of arguments, what each and every one of them hold as credentials, as their qualifications, to show that they qualify. Yes, there has been some sort of uproar and arguments that the front runner, why is it only his university that was published? Why not his
primary school sets,
primary, secondary, etc., etc. You know, that was while only just the university. But well, that's a question for him to answer. You know, I mean, he's the one that is vying for the office, that is seeking for the job, as well as others. So that question has been put up, and it's left for him to answer it. But left to me, someone that's been a former senator and has held different public offices before. I'm raising an eyebrow to that. As at this moment, I don't think it's...
it doesn't hold water.
No water at all. And it's just like a distraction, so to say.
But some would say that if you want to hide information from a black man, hide it in a book. And in Nigeria here, when one or an individual is sourcing for a job, the only thing whereby employers ask for is your academic qualifications. But why is it that for the top job in the country, the president of the country does not have his secondary school sets, even his primary school sets? How did he get there? Of course, Nigerians are curious.
Okay, so, I mean, we need to watch the language. I mean, saying that he doesn't have it because he did not have it, and it's not a requirement for you to list all the certificates you have before you can qualify for that office. If you are able to present the highest one, is as good as you presenting the other ones. So saying that you not having it, we have to watch that, because if we tell him to bring it, he may bring them out or explain how that come by. But he has presented the topmost of the certificate. You understand? I mean, if he has it somewhere, we should bring it out. If we are curious and we want him to bring it out, he's asking for our job. We are the employer. He is going to be our employee, or he's already working for us as the president. So if Nigerians feel like, you know, you should put it forward or put an explanation or show us, Nigerians can ask for it. I mean, he's within our purview to be able to ask for such.
INEC publishing the personal information of all 19 presidential candidates, it leads to openness. But with the electorate, are we open to a wave of new litigations? Because these are issues that we've seen come up over and over and over again. Opposition parties are always looking for loopholes when it comes to the credentials of whatever it is that INEC has put out. So is it the responsibility of INEC or the electorate or the presidential candidates to look for loopholes or verify these credentials being put out by the aspirants?
Well, I think INEC holds that responsibility to ensure that each applicant meet up with the requirement to vie for any offices, any political office they're vying for. That is one. Also, we as the electorate, as Nigerians, we shouldn't also fold our hands. We also need to, carry necessary steps. If we want to go into litigation, nothing stops us from doing that. If we want to ask questions, nothing stops us from doing that. And I'm also happy for the current president. Let me say in a while, first time I see some corporate bodies, some corporate individual bodies, go to him, have a one-on-one meeting with him, compared to the immediate previous government. They go to him, they ask him questions, they challenge him. We saw for that of the Catholic fathers that went to meet him. He was open enough to take their questions and to answer them on camera for us, for everybody to see. That's some sort of responsibility. So there are other private bodies. If they are not okay with the credentials, they can as well go and meet him. I'm sure if they write to him and say, we need explanation on X and Y, I'm sure, looking at how the reception he gave to the Catholic bishop, he will definitely give them reception also. So that's my own perspective. And INEC, I will always try to reiterate this to INEC to also try and do their job, ensure that they are not biased. I'm not saying they are biased. I'm just saying they should ensure they are not biased, and they should do their job I mean, make sure that everybody that is vying for an office put up the credentials that, I mean, is required to vie for such office, and they do their due diligence and not put us to public or necessary public shame.
INEC, you've heard the words of our political analyst in person of Jesu Femi Adeogun, right? So INEC, do not put us to public display. We'll be going on a short break now, and we'll be back.
That matter in the future will not simply distribute content. They will build trust. They will build communities. They will build influence. ANN was created for this moment.
Welcome if you're just joining us. My name is Salome Oladipo. Good afternoon. Today we have an exclusive interview on the race of the 2027 presidential election. Now, the opposition remains divided, with several political parties and influential figures pursuing different strategies ahead of the election. With all the issues surrounding Nigeria, which of these issues do you think will be at the peak of the general election? Is it insecurity? Is it food? What exactly is your take on this?
So I would say that there are quite a number of issues that will still be used for campaign in the coming election. Issues like power, electricity, security, and basic living, basic living. So these are the things I think that those are campaigning as, they're still going to put, as their major campaign promises.
Slogan, yes.
I mean, these are the obvious things that have not actually been, let me say, we can't feel them as much as we should.
For a minute, let's talk about the vice presidents that are currently running. As we know that APC, it's Kashim Shettima. For Peter Obi, we have Rabi Kwankwaso all the way from the north. Then lastly, we have Atiku Abubakar with who?
Atiku Abubakar with Rotimi Amechi.
Yes, that is the former Minister of Transportation. What is the significance of each of these vice presidents? Because for the two other political parties, aside from APC, it is the first time that these two people will be vying for this position. What is the significance, or what is the strength of these people that they have chosen to run with them for the election?
Well, they've chosen strategically. I mean, you know that North is a very key part of the populace. I mean, key part of every election. So anyone vying for the position of a president will always consider the North. It's very, very important. So, and one of the reasons I assume that Kashim Shettima was also retained, having said that, looking at Peter Obi and Atiku, their vices.
Abubakar, yes.
For Atiku, he already has his domain in the north, and looking at getting some votes from the south, Rotimi Amechi should be able to pull some weight.
Yes.
I mean, expectedly should be able to put some weight, but in my own opinion, I don't think he will be able to put anything.
Noting that Atiku is also from the north and
Yes.
Rabi Kwankwaso is also from the north.
Yes.
Don't you think that the votes are going to be divided?
In my own opinion, personal opinion, I don't think Kwankwaso will do a little. I mean, but he cannot have the kind of drive Atiku will have, because Atiku have an history, has his machineries, his people he's used before, and has a system of financing them that they are used to. You understand? He came second in the last election,
Yes.
so that's not by chance. You understand? And that same technology and system he used in the last election is still there. I would have loved the situation where Peter Obi and Atiku could match. You can imagine where Peter Obi Atiku, Kwakwanso, Rotimi Amechi become one force.
Yes.
President Tinubu will have been shaking.
Yes,
will have been, will have been pondering on how do I solve this problem. So I think he's also, in my own opinion, I think he's also one of his legendary strategy to make sure that those forces did not merge on him.
Right, but critics have said that Nigeria is gradually a one-party state. How's that going to look like for the 2027 election? Because most of the House of Rep members, National Assembly, down to local governments, state governments, they all belong to just one party. I have just 5 states, right, are out of the normal APC that we are used to. So what's your stance on this 2027 election with gathering votes and with the campaign that's starting on the 19th of this month?
Well, I think the uproar concerning Nigeria being a one-party state is coming from mostly the opposition, and it's coming from the position of fear. You understand? And I will give it to the president. I mean, he's been doing this, over and over again. Before I say that, left to him, I'm sure he's come out already and said that he's not pushing the agenda of one-party state. He's not doing that. But left to him, if everybody can come to his party and it's easy for him to just win the next election, good for him. Just personally on his side.
Yes.
But I'm sure for what he has built and he's been part of, the democracy he has built and he's been part of, over the years, I'm sure he will not want to push out the rhetoric of one party state. And the way we are, the way we are configured, it looks very impossible for us to have one party state. It looks very impossible for everybody to submit to one person.
Yes.
It looks very impossible. People from the southeast, do you think people from the southeast will just bow to one person? I don't think so. Even people from the north, they only follow their leaders. Northerners follow their leaders. They trust their leaders. So how do you come by and just have one party, state? It looks a bit impossible. So concerning that, I think no matter how President Tinubu may have tried and proved to be a leader, because I always say that as much as I like the personality of Peter Obi as a person, I love some of his ideologies. I love some of his personality. Somebody that saves, somebody that is prudent. I love that. But he doesn't really portray to be a good leader. In the sense that you can't build people. From Labour, from PDP to Labour to ADC to NDC.
But he had described the reasons why he had to leave from one party to another.
What's the reason? Can you please tell me? Because I don't get that.
He said something around a party having issues. Of course, he's not going to sync with those issues. He has to align himself with different political parties which have goals, which was one of the reasons he stated in one of the interviews that he did.
Should I ask you a question?
Please go ahead.
Nigeria, does Nigeria have issues right now?
Every country has issues.
Okay, every country. Now, let me say categorically, there are some issues in Nigeria.
The president would not leave where he's governing, but we're talking about an aspirant here.
No, it's a pattern.
Okay.
It's a pattern. Before you get into those parties, you know that they have issues. Before you get into them, you know there are going to be issues everywhere. So meaning that when you get there, you can't fix the party. You have to leave. So if you give you the job to be our president, when there are issues in Nigeria, then you're going to leave.
So your idea of being a leader is someone who's not jumping from party to party. But he's been the governor before and he did exceptionally well in his state. So why is that such a problem for you? Exceptionally
well, quote and unquote. Because some people say he did exceptionally well. Some people say he did not.
What's your own take?
In my own take concerning how he did when he was governor, I love the fact that he was able to save money. I love the fact that he's prudent. I love the fact that he does not give bribes.
Yes.
I love those qualities. But looking at the people that we are leading, do you understand? Do they live that kind of life? And apart from that, it's not only being prudent, it's about what did you do in your state. You know, I've stated the things I liked about what he did in his state, but what are the things you did? I prefer you not to be prudent, but I can see, I mean, giant things that you did there that impact lives, industries. You understand? Improve unemployment rate. I mean, employment rate. I mean, let healthcare change the life of your citizens. Let them praise you. Let them say these are the things. Not only saving money. Saving money for what? I don't need you to save money. I need you to change my life. It's not about saving money. Do you understand? I like the fact that we have to be prudent. We have to do this. Yes, I like his personality. Do you understand? And we need such personality. But we need it to mix with leaders that can build people. There have been questions of, okay, where are the people that work with Peter Obi? How many of them has he built? Where are the people that work with him? Have you asked yourself that question? I mean, up to now, how many of them, can you show 1 or 2 or 3 that, okay, because of my influence, this person is not behaving like me? That's a good leader. You know, when you have your children, I mean, your children, they want to become like you even without teaching them.
Yes.
So can he show us 2, 3 people that are now behaving like
Just
him?
like him.
Yes, that they are now prudent. They wear one shoe for 1 year. Do you understand? Then they save money. They don't give bribe. You should have 20 people by now.
Focus. Over 20 people.
That is behaving like you, but nobody. I mean, so he should recheck himself. Something is wrong somewhere. And another thing is, you cannot say that PDP is bad. Labour Party is bad. NDC is bad. I mean, ADC is bad.
All the parties here had left.
Come on, all of them.
But in the last election, though, which qualities did you vote for?
Myself?
Yes.
Last election, I voted for APC.
Okay.
And my reasons are very straight because in my house, my wife is a strong follower of Peter Obi.
Okay.
And I'm in the middle.
Okay.
I didn't vote for APC because I only strongly believe in President Tinubu. I voted for APC because I asked myself, my wife, a question. I said, okay, Peter Obi, you sound nice, but where is his structure? I mean, how is he going to secure his votes? And I was asking her this same question now. I said, how is he going to protect his votes now? Election is about few days, few months, about 5 months right now. Where are the structure? Where is the system? Who is going to be at those wards? Those wards, two people minimum. Stakeholders being at that ward nationwide, transmitting that what they are counting to their own server. INEC have their server. Peter Obi need to have his own server, real time, transmitting it as they are counting. Will be 1, will be 2, will be 77. They are transmitting it nationwide. He needs to have people in INEC that believe in Obi on their neck. So, because it's not about who votes, it's about who counts the vote. He knows all these things. Where is the structure? I mean, it's not just by talking or by aspiring or by hoping people will come out. Because last election, a lot of people came out for Obi.
Yeah.
To vote for Obi that have never voted before.
Yes.
New people, fresh people.
We had the new rate of registered voters.
Yes, and they are still hoping now. Do you understand? And I said something before. I believe, in my own opinion, that the best candidate for the job is still President Tinubu.
All right. So I really want to confirm if you're satisfied with the state of the nation, because in the last election, people had a number of reasons why they were voting for each candidate. Some it was Muslim ticket, some it was based off tribe, some party affiliation, some candidates record, some personality. In 2027, and honestly, with the state of the nation, what should the electorate vote for?
Okay, I will answer the first question, that if I'm satisfied with the state of the nation. The answer is no, I'm not satisfied. In fact, I will say that I'm disappointed.
And another 4 years would be enough for this same party to solve the issues in the country?
Please, I will tell you this categorically. If I have President Tinubu sitting down with me right now, I will tell him I'm disappointed. Because the reason why I voted for President Tinubu is because of his antecedents. It's because of his track record. And I expect that by now, basic things like electricity should have been fixed. If not fixed, close to
improvements.
But what is he up to now? Yes, I'm updated with what has been done. The decentralization, the giving the states the power to generate their electricity, the paying off, raising bonds to pay off the debts, etc., etc. But I'm saying that speed, I wouldn't mind if the subsidy that was removed, the money for the subsidy, is gathered together and put into wholly electricity. Let us have 20 megawatts. Let us have 50 megawatts. Let us know that this is what we are suffering for. I'm okay with him removing subsidy. I'm okay with unification of the currency. I'm okay with everything. But this money you remove there, just fix. Because no matter how economy is fixed, macro economy is doing fine. I'll give it to him. No matter how it's doing fine, it will not trickle down to the micro unless electricity is working fine. Business owners up till now, no grant. Yes, there has been skeletal grant, but there is no, we received grants in the days of Jonathan now.
Yes, we did.
Yes, grant, 10 million, 7 million. How was it beneficial? Even to the early days of Buhari, when, the things that Jonathan left, he carried on with some of them. We received grant. But 3 years down the line, no open grant that this is grant for all businesses. Not that I'm giving to this sector or giving to this sector. All businesses. Jonathan was giving us 10 million naira, I think World Bank grant. I think, what's the name that time? Ewing, that time, 10 million. Compared to the exchange rate now and the hardship now, I expect this government should not be giving not less than 20 million naira grant to selected businesses. But nothing like that. So who is going to employ those people that are looking for the job? Those people that are supposed to employ them are having issues with their business. They can't pay rent, they can't pay salaries, they are closing down, they are running out of, a lot of them have run out of the country. And I said it when President Tinubu came in. I said it to everybody that these reforms, we cannot see the result of it immediately. I gave 10 years. That's what I give. 10 years.
Are you in favor of, sorry to cut you short, are you in favor of a new administration taking up the responsibility of the previous administration? Because, every administration has their reforms, their blueprints. Yes. So now you're saying 10 years. Of course, he has just 4 more years left, as if he gets elected again. So how does it solve all of this? He has used like 4 years, so we still have like 6 more years before all these reforms. I will give it to the current president because these reforms are needed. And he has the boldness to go into these reforms and make sure that he implement them. From police reform, state police that is ongoing. Yes. You agree with me that our policing is a mess. Even let's leave state police. If we want to leave state police, the police itself need reform. If they tell you that police invite you now, I'm sure you don't have guarantee of what you will get there. It's not like that abroad. Police abroad will be smiling with you, playing with you, even though they know they are going to lock you up. It's an infringement of our rights.
But go into a police station now and want to make a report. Next thing is you know that they want to collect something from your pocket. It needs reform. And they are on it. I was still listening to the chief of staff, yesterday, and things he was saying, the process they're going through to do the reform, even though they're trying to put speed, but I can see some articulation. I can see some, consultation. You understand? Cutting across each bodies. And it's not only about state policing. It's about reducing corruption and funding them properly, making sure that funds relief from aid is getting to the bottom. And that's the biggest problem. When they release funds from federal government relief fund for this is fund for the police, some corrupt policemen make sure that that money doesn't get to. You can imagine PACN cutting the light off a police station.
I've seen that. I've heard that.
How does that?
Even with PCIFPC, something in that regard.
What does that tell you? Cutting the light. So police station now does not have light. Now they have to raise money by themselves.
To further journey. To
further, that means they will come to the road and they will look for what they're not supposed to look for.
Well, you know that corruption even begins with you and I.
Yes.
There's an average Nigerian that is a corrupt person, down from when you're walking on the streets, you're buying something. So how exactly do Nigerians cut off corruption when even the governments do good roads for us, possibly provide electricity? We've seen vandalizing, talk more of the third mainland bridge. So how should Nigeria cut down corruption in this going forward?
I said something when I was, I think, live like a few days ago. I said that every Nigerian, almost every Nigerian, believe if they commit a crime, they can get away with it. Almost every Nigerian.
And that's not supposed to be true.
That's not supposed to be. If that can change and can be corrected, corruption will reduce by half automatically. Because if you go abroad, ordinary to ask some people for direction, they might find it difficult answering you because they don't want to get into trouble.
Right.
Like, if I do not exaggerate, 50 to 80% of everybody staying abroad have visited like a mini, there's difference between going to Kirikiri and just locking you up for a few days.
Of course.
I've been locked up one time or the other. But if myself and you have a misunderstanding and I want to take you to the police station, somebody will tell me, but she's your friend now, or she's your family. Just let it go now. You can't. How do you go to God after you have taken your? It's not like that. But almost everybody have been to jail.
For one issue or the other. So lawyers are cashing up.
I'm telling you. So when they hear any issue, they don't. No. I don't want to be. Police come for even their brother. They will not hide the brother. They say he's sleeping there. Once the police tell them that they just killed somebody, he's sleeping there. But find a mother and tell the mother that her son just stole 20 million naira now. She will still not tell you. She will be doing Thanksgiving in the church that 20. What's today? So
but it's two-sided. Not every Nigerian mother is like that.
No, I'm just saying general. I'm just generalizing.
Okay, generalizing.
That if there is a system, reforms is done that makes sure that any crime you commit, you are held responsible to the end. And everybody knew that any slight thing, there is proper law and order. Do you understand? And it starts from this police too. Because if the police are doing their job as they are supposed to do it, there will be law and order. Because they are the ones that are not supposed to be biased. They are the ones that are supposed to ensure that everybody's right is protected. So when people have confidence in the policing, then it will, one way or the other, trickle down. And it comes from this reform. How can a police officer not have a car? You understand? How can a police officer have, from my office, one of my branches of our office, down I can look at a mama put, not far. You see police officers sitting down there and eating.
Well, how should government collect funds to take care of this department better? I mean, with better salaries, better cars, better outputs, because everything starts from within.
Yes.
When they are being treated good
yes.
and nice, down to their job, their outfits,
yes.
their salaries, it shows outwardly.
Let me give you an example. One of our offices, like a neighbor that we share the floor, NEPA,
okay,
electricity people came and they discovered some wrong connection. And at the bottom end of it, the boss of the company alerted me because he was not around that I should get involved. And afterwards, he was now calling them that what can they do to
solve the case.
The guys said no. They insisted, like the normal people that cut your light.
Of course.
If you just pay some money, they will regularize and tell you no problem. Okay, don't do it again. This guy insisted. So I was not surprised. Later on, And I asked somebody, I said, what happened? How come these guys are this strict that they are not even listening to anybody? They said that they've given them a mandate that if you're able to catch somebody that does this connection,
possibly they'll get a promotion.
100,000. It's not promotion. Cash. 100K.
Even your fellow neighbor is going to tell the officials that
exactly
this is wrong
100K
connection.
to you, to the team. Do you understand? Maybe to each of them or all of them. So there's a financial benefit to doing what is right. Those are ways that government can also do for police. They are able to do this case successfully, and you are not biased. Even apart from your salary, you are going to get a huge bonus, and they are getting the bonus. Come on, they will change straight. Even they will report their boss, because they know if you report the boss, I'm getting $1 million for the reporting, and they confirm it and they receive the payment. Those are ways that they can go about it.
Right. I don't know if you've seen the former APC National Vice Chairman, Salihus Lukman, his post, urging the opposition parties to please, any beef or personal differences that you have before the 2027 election, let it die down. I don't know if you've come across that.
I do not.
I actually want to get your take on that, because do you think that that call is him being realistic, or, you know, personal ambitions are possibly standing in the way of a formidable opposition? You know, just like you now telling INEC to do what is right before the 2027 election. So I'm asking you, do you think that his call is him being realistic, or him just, you know, bragging, yes, election is coming up?
Well, I think everybody is saying whatever they can say, you understand, to actually, first and foremost, to make sure that they are still there.
Right.
You understand, that they still exist, and also to, put together their team and to let them know that, you know, we are against a strong opposition, and to be united. For me, I want a strong opposition, because I say that let's look at Peter Obi, for example. If Peter Obi become president, for me, it cannot be as worse as the time of President Buhari. You understand? So, President Tinubu, yes, I believe that he's going to win this election.
Okay.
I believe that. I mean, when he was not even in power, they did everything they could. You understand? Then while he's there, he doesn't have the character of somebody you can just remove from seat, and he has never lost an election before. I think that should resound in the ear of all his opposition.
But he was beaten in Lagos State by Peter Obi. I know that's not like the general election, but for him to be beaten in his own
that's not
states,
his election.
Like for his own polling votes, that's what I mean. His polling units.
That's not his election. Was he beaten in the presidential election?
For him to be taken out of his own states by an Igbo man in a Yoruba state, you know.
That still doesn't really matter.
Okay.
What really matters is the end of the results. If he was
Fair
beaten
enough.
in Lagos, but he was able to win where he doesn't even have any connection in the north.
That's because he has structure, like you said earlier on.
Exactly. So probably even Lagos may not matter to him as so to say. What really matters to him in Lagos is the governorship election, so that he doesn't lose his grip. What really matters to him is that the overall result. Once the overall result is in his favor, even if they like win the entire southwest, win the entire southeast, it doesn't really matter. So I think the opposition should. I don't even think opposition is doing enough. Currently, few months to election, we are not seeing anything. I mean, what are they waiting for?
Campaigns are starting very soon, so hopefully we'll see something.
Well.
But before I let you go, if you were to advise Nigerians for the 2027 general election, beyond certificates or campaign promises, or aside being the fact that you're an APC supporter, what should the electorate look out for?
Okay, so let me be very clear. I'm an APC supporter, but I'm actually a supporter of a candidate.
Okay, not the party.
Not, yes, so to say. Even though I'm a card holder of APC, but you know, I have the right to move anytime I want to move. You understand? So what I'm saying is this: I'm supporting President Tinubu because of his track record, and I don't see anybody that can compete with that track record. Listen to him. When you want to know a man, like, I'm an employer of labor, and I give people a chance to work with us time after time. I engage in interviews. The last stage of interviews land on my desk, and one thing I want to do is I want to look at you in the face and ask you, do you think, why should we give you this job? after they've done everything, you need to tell me. I'm a believer of persons. I've listened to President Tinubu time after time, and he's always saying that I asked for this job. And if you look at the things he's been doing, when he came in, it was overwhelming. The economy was in shambles. You understand? I think we still get talking about the economy. It was in shambles. And he's done some things. You understand? Even the security, he's done some notable things that nobody has ever done before. No president has ever done before. So
Okay.
if I'm going to give this coming election, I'm voting for President Tinubu. But if I'm going to give Obi a chance, I want to see his structure. I just don't want to waste my vote on just the expectation that people will come out and the INEC would count the vote and INEC would be truthful enough. Do you understand? You know how we are. You can't just wait for them to you just hand it over to you in Nigeria. It doesn't happen. There must be structure. How do you want to do this? How do you want to win it? Which structure do you have in the north? Which structure do you have in the south? Which structure do you have in all these regions? You understand? Where is your database? Where is your data? Where is your analytics? How do you collate them? How do you understand? How do you go to the court in case they are not giving you the power, or that is cheating or what have you? I need to see all that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jesufemi. I must say that it's been a huge pleasure having you here in our studio.
Yes.
Lagos, Nigeria, every state in the world, there you have it. The race to the presidential election has begun, and your vote matters. Do not allow anyone tell you that your votes do not count. Make sure you get your PVC. Once again, I'm Salome Oladipo. Thank you for joining us.
This is ANN. The institutions that matter in the future will not simply distribute content. They will build trust. They will build communities. They will build influence. ANN was created for this moment.
Well, to further discuss the Super Falcons preparations, the 2026 WAFCON and other major talking points from this tournament, joining us now from Rabat, Morocco, is a sports photojournalist, Justina Anifiok. Justina, welcome to the show.
Yeah, good afternoon, Amara.
Good afternoon. I'm so glad to have you on the show today. Well, the Super Falcons, the tournament has kicked off. The 2026 WAFCON, is upon us now, and we've seen videos of Super Falcons training sessions in Morocco, and you're in Morocco. With your time spent, let me dive right in. With your time spent with the Super Falcons at the camp, what would you say is your assessment of the team's preparation ahead of their opening game against Malawi tomorrow?
Yeah, for me, the girls' spirits are so high because they are the defending champion from last year. They won their 10th trophy, and I am sure they don't want to lose any game in this tournament, and they also want to make it to qualify for the FIFA World Cup and also still be the head and defend the trophy. So the spirits are so high, and nobody wants to lose, and they as well to also want to put in their best to still remain the defending champion. The spirits are high, and they are happy. Good aura, good vibes from the girls, which is very, very good and commendable.
Okay, that's well said. Talking about happiness and excitement, we saw that the Super Falcons in their opening, ceremony on Saturday, we saw their dressing attires. They were all, kitted up in their Nigerian traditional attires. You were there. I saw pictures of you with the players, and pictures of players like Rasheedat Ajibade looking fly in the green and white attire. So tell me from you, what would you say about that attire? Do you love it?
Yes, the attire is very, very unique and classic. Pictures and seeing them real life, there are two things. People may be saying, this cloth is this, is that, is not fine, is this. But when you see the clothes, like when you see the dress, the way they dress and everything, very simple, classic, with the color of Nigerian flag, green, white, green, and all that, it is very, 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 very unique. You can't compare what you see and what you see online. So if it is not for you to see the beauty of the cloth, it's the way the girls are happy. You understand? The cloth fits in everybody. It fits in everybody. And there's nothing like it has different kind of, you understand? It's just a very simple dress. And it's very, very unique and classic. That's what I would just have to say. It's unique and classic.
I mean, I love the outfits. It looks nice to see that Super Falcons took it upon them, and the team general to represent Nigeria at the WAFCON with those attires. Now, talking about the team now, one conversation that's always recurring at the WAFCON is welfare. From the last WAFCON, we saw conversations about the team's hotel. How it was tiny. That was the conversation. It was small, although that was rectified. But now at this WAFCON, before the team went to Casablanca, the opening day, we saw news on the social media about thefts, for some players in their hotels. I'm sure you heard about that news. And what I want to know is, now you are in Morocco with these players, and you can see you are in the camp. You've spoken to a few of them. So tell me from your own perspective, how would you say Morocco is doing, with this edition, how they are treating hospitality, accommodation compared to the last edition? What would you say about that?
Yeah, for me, actually, I am not staying in the camp with the girls. I only went for the team arrival to Rabat.
Okay.
I'm also in my apartment. For me, this is the first time that such a thing will happen, that they stole some of the girls' money in the hotel and all that. We never can tell how it happened. But for me, the only thing I know I'm not getting from this tournament is the bites, the energy. You can't compare this year tournament to last year tournament, because during last year we had a lot of, when you're from the airport, you will feel the vibes that WAFCON is taking place in Morocco. Even in the streets, you see billboards, you see a lot of things happening there. You see their fans coming out, trooping in, you see people coming in. But for this one, I'm not getting that vibes. I don't know, maybe as we progress, we will see things like that. But for me, I have not seen anything like that so far this tournament. And hospitality and everything, Moroccans are always, they do try their best, and you won't even blame the Moroccans. It's the CAF itself, because it's the tournament's CAF. So they're in partnership with the Moroccan people. Yeah, Moroccan, I don't know, the top people in Morocco. So for me, I'm not getting that vibes that WAFCON 2026. Even from the opening ceremony, you see how the things are being done. I don't know what is really going on, but I know before the end of the tournament, a lot of things will be put in place. But for the girls' hospitality, I think I know they are in good place. And we also have the ambassador in Morocco here, spoke to the girls, and I'm sure there's a guarantee that everything is going to be fine, of which things are fine. We are always having this issue, welfare, not welfare, hospitality, no hospitality, but the girls remain focused on defending this year trophy. So for me, I won't say much about whatever that is going on because it's their private and personal thing.
We hope that, like I said, these issues about hospitality get better as the tournament progresses. Now talking about the players themselves, just now I'd like to hear from you. Most of the players, you were at the 2024 WAFCON. Most of the players, majority of the players that we had at that edition, we also have them this edition. Aside from players like Ashley Plumser, who is not available. But one other player that wasn't available at the last edition was Monday Gifts. And now in this edition, we've seen Monday Gifts, fight her way through in her spots to be called up for the 2026 WAFCON. Now this player, looking at Coach Justin Madugu's style of play, what would you say Monday Gifts would bring? What do you think she would, bring to this team? And what are your expectations from her? And seeing her training so far with the team, how do you think she has been able to, mingle with the team or, find her place with Justin Madugu's style?
For me, no player is a push-out player. And for Monday Gift to be called for this year WAFCON, she deserves it and she has done so well. She has put in a lot of energy. And it is best known to the coach, you understand, because the coach has his own philosophy. He has his own roadmap. He knows the players that he wants. He knows the one that can fit in to his play. He knows that, he knows this one's strength. He knows this one's weakness. So for me, Monday Gifts coming into this year WAFCON, I think is a plus for the team. Is a plus for the team and also for the players itself. She has done so well in her league in the US, and let's just watch and see what she's going to bring into the games going forward.
Okay, we're hoping to see Monday Gifts, perform well. She's a player that, I've watched her play in the US, and I know she's a player that has a lot of skills. I'm now talking about, let's move to the coach, Justin, Coach Justin has, he has been training with the team, and the team has been in camp, and now they are in Rabat from Casablanca, and they are going into the game against Mali, which is their opening game, and I believe you would be in attendance of that game to cover it. For the 4 semi-finalists at this WAFCON would get automatic qualifications for the 2027 Women's World Cup in Brazil. And now the Super Falcons are the defending champions. They are one of the teams that we know people are expecting, to book their tickets for the World Cup next year. But also we have other 3 teams. You looking at the team's performance, we know that Nigeria is going to face Malawi. Malawi are debutants at this, at this WAFCON. Which teams from this, teams that we have at the WAFCON, looking at their strengths, each of the teams, aside from Nigeria, or inclusive with Nigeria, which team do you think, 4 of the teams you think would, pick this World Cup tickets from this WAFCON 2026? Like
I said, there's nothing that no team should be underrated in this team. One of our biggest sports broadcaster, Mr. Moses Praise, will say, anybody can be beaten.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Also, anything can happen. Anything can happen because the WAFCON just started.
Yeah.
It just started. So it's the first game, so we don't know what will happen. But for me, I just feel Nigeria will definitely qualify. Morocco will definitely qualify. I don't know if our brothers from Ghana too. I don't know if the Black Stars win. So I'm waiting for the Black Star Queens as well too.
You're waiting for the Black Stars?
Also, Black Stars. I'm waiting for
Ghana. Wow. Okay.
Yes, Ghana. I'm waiting for Ghana. I'm waiting for Ghana because I can see the level of professionalism, consistency, even on the media publicity, their awareness and everything. For me, Nigeria number 1, Morocco number 2. I'm also praying for Ghana team, Black Stars. I think is it Black? How they call them? Black Queens. Black Star Queens of Ghana.
Okay.
And I'm also. Now, this one, 2 things. I'm just rooting for I'm a piano girl, South African team too, and also. Yes, South African team, and I won't push Cape Verde aside. You understand? Because for me, my first 4 is just Nigerian, Morocco, Ghana, and South Africa. But other teams too can also join. We never can tell what will happen when we get to that quarter-final, semi-final. So we know who will qualify for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup in Brazil.
That is beautiful from you, Justina. Well said from you, and thank you for joining me on the show today. And I hope to have you sometime again on the show. And good luck to the Super Falcons as they pursue their quest to qualify for the World Cup next year and also defend their titles. Thank you for joining me on the show, Justina.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for staying with us. I am Amarachi Odinaka for Alive News. Do have a wonderful day.
This is ANN. Africa is changing. Its influence is growing. Its economies are evolving. Its digital future is accelerating. Today, more than 1.5 billion people call Africa home. Hundreds of millions are already connected. And by 2050, the continent will be home to more than 2.5 billion people. Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, drives this population growth and mass connectivity. The epic center of opportunity. Africa's scale and Nigeria's growing population create a rare long-term investment opportunity. But opportunity alone changes nothing. Execution matters. Because media has changed. Audiences have moved. Attention has fragmented. Trust has become scarce. The institutions that matter in the future will not simply distribute content. They will build trust. They will build communities. They will build influence. ANN was created for this moment. Not simply as a channel, not merely as a platform, but as a next-generation African media institution. Operating from Nigeria, present across every platform that matters: television, digital, streaming, mobile, events, intelligence, one ecosystem, built with AI, run by journalists, built to inform, built to engage, built to endure, and built to create value generated across multiple revenue streams: advertising, sponsorship, events, digital products, research, multiple revenues, one institution, one long-term vision. The greatest opportunities are not discovered, they are built. The work of building has already begun. The Lagos studio is taking shape. The vision is coming alive. This is ANN, alive to Africa, alive to the world.